A few videos back we talked about nodes, and we said that nodes are points and they contain tags. And then we talked about ways, and we said that you could represent lines and areas with ways. So now it's time to cover OpenStreetMap's last object type, the relation. Relations are objects that can contain nodes, ways, or actually they can also contain other relations, but we'll get into that a bit later. What relations describe is the relationship between objects. So relations describe a relationship, and they're kind of like ways in that they contain other objects. So ways contain nodes, but relations are a little bit more complicated. I think the best way to understand relations is to actually go through one, though. So let's do that. We're going to make a building with a courtyard. So let's draw our building outline. And we'll draw an inner courtyard here as another way. Now these buildings with courtyards are actually very common in Europe. What you'll have is a large apartment building, for example, with an empty center that's not built out so that people can get more light. And to make this a little bit more clear, it's not exactly clear in the photo or in the illustration. I'm going to just try to fill in the area that people would consider the building. So let's see how this works. Alright, it's not perfect, but it'll do. So you can see here that we've got a building outline that's the actual building, with the concrete and the brick and the stone, and then you've got this empty part in the center. So that's how it would look in OpenStreetMap. We've got these. I'm just going to remove it just to make it a little more clear. You've got this one way here and this second way here, and we'll give an ID to these two ways. So we'll call this 50, and we'll call this one 51, just so that we have an ID. And it's important to remember that every object in OpenStreetMap has an ID. So technically, so would the nodes here, 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 here. But we're not going to worry about that right now. It's not important in this example. So let's start to construct our relation. So relation. Now the first thing we need to do when we're constructing a relation is to actually give a relation type. There are different types of relations that describe different types of relationships. This example here is a multi-polygon, so we'll tag it with type equals multi. It's a multi-polygon. And you can see here it just uses the same type of tagging system that everything else uses. So now we've given it a type. Let's talk about the actual tag that we're going to be using here, and that's building. Normally we would just tag this outer way, the way that we've given ID 50. But here, because we've got this courtyard, we're using a relation, we're going to tag the relation. So this will be building equals yes. And so that tells the system that this is a building. And now what we're going to do is we're going to bring in our two ways here. And before we do that, we need to talk a little bit about roles. And roles in a relation describe, it's a little bit recursive, but they describe the role, the part that this object will play in this relation. And so in the instance of a multi-polygon, the example of a multi-polygon, there are two roles, an inner and outer multi-polygon. So a multi-polygon is just an object that we use to describe objects that are too complex that can't be represented in a regular way. So this object here has a hole in it that can't be represented with a single line, even if it's a closed way. So we need this multi-polygon. So in this example, we're going to have our two ways. So let's include them. This is just an illustration of how we would include it, but we're going to say way 50, and roll is outer. And way 51 with roll inner. And all that says is that way 50 is the larger outer outline, and way 51 is the inner one. And that's pretty much it. So we've constructed a multi-polygon with two ways. We've given it a role. We've defined what relations are. We've defined what roles are, and we've tagged our relation and not the ways themselves with the tags. So I think we're good to go. So I'll see you in the next video.